What happened to the black sheep of your family? My brother Jake was supposed to inherit Dad's construction company, third generation. Dad had his whole life planned out. Instead, Jake announced at Thanksgiving dinner he was becoming a kindergarten teacher. The silence was deafening. Then Dad exploded. Real men don't babysit kids for a living. You're throwing away everything I built. He stormed out, came back with Jake's baby pictures, and threw them in the fireplace. If you walk away from this family business, you're walking away from this family. Jake tried to explain. He'd been volunteering at an after-school program, saw kids with no one to believe in them, but Dad wasn't hearing it. He cut Jake out of the will that night. Mom cried for weeks. Extended family whispered he'd lost his mind. The next morning, Jake packed a single duffel bag. Dad wouldn't even look at him. Don't come crawling back when you realize what a mistake you made. Jake moved into a studio apartment above a laundromat, lived on ramen and peanut butter sandwiches, worked at a gas station nights, cleaned offices weekends, just to afford teaching school. Dad wouldn't even say his name anymore. At family dinners, they'd leave his chair empty like he was dead. I was the only one who stayed in touch. Jake would tell me about his students, how he learned sign language for a deaf kid, stayed after school every day to help a boy whose parents worked 3 jobs, but he never complained about Dad. Teaching school was brutal. Jake had no money for a car, rode his bike 8 miles each way. His apartment had no heat, so he'd grade papers at 24-hour diners. Other teachers felt bad and started bringing him lunch, but he never gave up. 2 years later, Dad had a massive heart attack at a job site. Paramedics said it was bad, real bad. While he was in surgery, his phone kept buzzing on the waiting room table. The nurse handed it to me, text after text from random numbers, parents I'd never heard of. Mr. Jake saved my son from choking at lunch today. Your brother stopped my daughter from getting hit by a car in the pickup line. Jake taught my autistic child to read when 3 other teachers said it was impossible. Then I saw the newest message. Breaking. Local teacher pulls child from burning building, saves 3 lives. Story at 11. It was from Channel 7 News. My hands were shaking as I clicked the link. Jake had been on playground duty when he smelled smoke. Apartment building next to the school was on fire. 3 kids were trapped on the 2nd floor. Jake didn't hesitate. The video showed him climbing a ladder, carrying out a toddler, then going back for 2 more. His shirt was burned, face covered in soot, but he kept going back until every kid was safe. Dad woke up 6 hours later to see Jake's face on every TV in the hospital. The reporter called him the teacher who risks everything for his students. The fire chief said Jake was a hero. Parents were crying on camera, thanking him for saving their children. Dad stared at the screen for a long time. Then he looked at me with tears streaming down his face and whispered, "Get him here, now." I called Jake. He was still at the hospital getting checked for smoke inhalation. When I told him Dad wanted to see him, he went quiet. "Are you sure?" Jake walked into Dad's room, still covered in soot, bandages on his hands from climbing broken glass. Dad took one look at him and started sobbing. "Son, I was wrong. You didn't become a teacher. You became a hero." They hugged for the first time in 3 years. Dad kept saying sorry over and over.